domain which is dominated by Brahma. Brahma is the unmanifest divinity. Everything dissolves into the unmanifest divinity. So there is no astitva. Astitva means that which remains behind. No identity will remain. If you become identityless, then you can't have love and devotion. The love and devotion factor disappears because people like Buddha, you merge in the Brahma, you become nothing. Did Mirabai? No, Mira, and last week only we were discussing Mira and Tukaram, and there were other devotees also. In their case, they were not merging. They entered a domain which is called the Goloka.
So they entered the domain, not the person.
There is no person there. There is a domain there called Goloka. It is an abode, A-B-O-D-E, abode. It is not a what we call as a person. In the abode is a supreme divine person. So there is an abode and then there is a supreme divine person. That supreme divine person is called Krishna. So I think somebody pinging or what, I don't know. Megha is online. Is Megha wanted to join in? I don't know.
I have sent her an invite.
Oh, is it? Who is joined here?
Megha.
Okay. Good afternoon. That's Guru. So this domain is of Krishna. Krishna is a supreme divine person there. Yet Krishna is not a supreme divine person there because the supreme divine person is a projection of his. Is a projection of this unmanifest Krishna, as we call it. That means there is something far beyond that as well, which is not there in any text so far. So that is the reason why we have to stop till there. So any person who is attempting the break of this portion, which we call as the Sahasrahar, they crack the Brahmandra and they escape from there. Those people can never come back. So they escape from this domain completely. Okay. Senthil is joining Brito. No, can't. Can you see? I can't see him. Should we wait for another 5 more minutes and then we will? Guru, nothing. Okay. Everybody is all knowing. Okay. Okay, I'll just do the last verse of the previous chapter because I did not do it. I said that we will club it up with the next chapter. So we'll just do the last verse of the previous chapter. This is something which in the third season of the year, the Lord enjoyed as the central beauty of the assembly of women by attracting them with these pleasing songs in an autumn night brightened by moonshine. This is when there is Kartik Purnima, and then there is another Purnima which is when the moon is high up at that particular point in time, the Ras Leela happens in Vrindavan. It is mentioned like that. Now this rasa happens with his own devotees. The devotees are called gopis, and this is an introduction to that. So in the third season of the year, that means, what is the meaning of this word third season? थर्ड सीजन मतलब ऋतु का जो होता है ना, हम लोगों के इसमें कितने 5 ऋतु है, 4 ऋतु बोलते हैं लेकिन है 5. सो इन दैट this particular thing happens when this dance, supposedly the dance of the gopis and Krishna, yeah, they are said, it's not Basant Ritu, it's Shravan भी नहीं. So शरद पूर्णिमा जो बोलते हैं ना, उस टाइम पे ये हो जाता है. So this Ras Leela happens. Pennsylvania. Should we wait some more or what? No? Okay, maybe we will start. All right. Okay. Or chahiye? Okay.
That's what he's doing.
So
he's doing.
Okay, fine. We'll wait for 2 more minutes. It will join.
I think saying we are holding the mountain vanity finger of goodness. Govardhan.
Krishna is called the divine consciousness, supreme divine consciousness, an amsh of his, an amsh of his. That's a portion of his is resting in us. In every person there is a small portion of his. That small portion is supposedly one small tiny finger. Is much only. Supposedly a very tiny finger. On that tiny finger, imagine you are holding one small. So it is a representation of if the insurmountable difficulties that are there in this material world. What happens in the material world is we come across a lot of issues. The mountain is connected to the mind. It's an aspect of the mind which is called ego. The ahankara is the worst thing in the world to hold up because it rains down on a person. The mind is that one over there. The rain is what we spew out, the venom. Everything that comes out from an individual is that. The little mountain is actually उसको धृति बोलते हैं. तो उसको hold करना is very difficult. Still, this little person inside of us is able to hold it up. That means what? Just an example. If you have fallen down into the depth, completely depth of something, you will find that there is always something that pulls you out of it. It's a very thin string, You're actually held by a very thin string. Yeah, then that string pulls you out. But in the material world, which for many years our mind has been active, Because we have been born in this material world, our mind is continuously active. We have always been praying to the mind, because we always pray to the mind to give us answers. Isn't that what we do? We think that in our mind we are able to get answers for something or the other. Now think about it. Now you are not going to ask the mind at all after this. So what is mind going to do? Is going to pressurize you by rain, or rain in the sense going to rain down upon you with all the possible, gunk that is there, muck that is there, and you are capable, you can't do this, you are not. No, you try ignoring the mind once. Sit in one place and say, mind, don't come to me, and see what happens. Yes, mind cannot be overcome any given point in time. You can go and sit even in the desert. A person like Jesus Christ couldn't overcome the mind for many days. He had to finally tell his father, Father, you have forsaken me. Forsaken me means तुम मेरे को छोड़ के चले गए. Yeah. You imagine that Jesus can say these words. Buddha has to do all these things. It's a very tough thing. So हम किस खेत की मूली है? हम तो नॉर्मल ह्यूमन बीइंग है. नॉर्मल ह्यूमन बीइंग को तो जीसस क्राइस्ट तो है नहीं. तो माइंड को ओवरकम करना इज अ वेरी वेरी इम्पॉसिबल टास्क फॉर एवरी ह्यूमन बीइंग. But the only one inside of you who can work through you is this divine consciousness. If you give him the chance, then things will work. But a person doesn't want to give a chance because the person always thinks through the mind and through the little ego, which becomes very big. There are two kinds of egos I have always discussed. One is called what is called as the inflated ego, and one is called the deflated ego. The inflated ego is very easy to come. You take one pin and you poke it, and then the inflation thup करके okay है ना, at least छोटा हो जाता है. Deflated ego को ऊपर लाना is the most impossible thing in the world, because a person who is deflated, who is being pushed down, and who is always said मेरे जैसा कोई इस दुनिया में है ना गया गुजरा इंसान नहीं है. Means I am the worst bloody creature on earth. Nobody can save me. I cannot do this. I cannot do that. मेरे से ये नहीं हो सकता है, मेरे से वो नहीं हो सकता है. होता है अच्छा, तुमसे कुछ भी नहीं हो सकता है. उस आदमी को ऊपर लाना is the most difficult thing in the world. Try doing that. Try pushing a person up and saying no, it is possible. It's the most difficult thing in the world. You cannot pull out a person who is completely given up on life. There are lots of people who have given up on life. They completely say, ki I can't do this and I can't do that. That is the reason why people like Pistorius. Have you heard of this guy? No? Pistorius. You can Google and see. He's a guy without legs and without hands. He has written a very beautiful book. Okay, this person has no legs and no hands. Think about it. And yet, he earns so much money, you cannot even imagine. No hands and no legs. How the hell does he live?
Motivational speaker.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest motivational speakers. So, this person without legs and without hands can stand up and talk and can motivate other people. Can you imagine from one end of the world to the other end how much of effort that person must have put in to remove that deflated ego of his? Have you imagined? There is a TED talk also on him, by the way. There is a TED talk. Okay, and then there is another person who is a South African runner. Okay, he doesn't have legs. And yet he is the fastest man in the world. He has got those two prosthetic legs, actually those are what can I say, two metal which are stuck up in his feet, and he is one of the fastest runners in the world. You cannot beat him, by the way. He runs so fast. He has no legs. So A person can go down to the depth of saying, complete एकदम नीचे खड्डे में जाके बोल सकता है, मेरे से ये नहीं होगा, मेरे से वो नहीं होगा, हाँ, मेरे पैर टूटे हुए हैं, मेरा हाथ टूटा हुआ है. But look at this man. You can see his spirit. That is why we say the spirit is soaring, isn't it? You need to have the spirit in a person to rise above all the things that the world gives you. And these are the stories that we see in TED Talk. If you actually go to this channel, you will find so many motivational stories like that. It's very easy to feel down and out, and that ego is the reverse of this inflated ego. The deflated ego is the worst ego of all. So overcoming that is very, very essential. Nice to see you, Sandhya. Good. I didn't notice that you had joined. I saw you coming in and then suddenly falling off. Okay, so we will now take up chapter 3, Canto 3, and Lord's pastime out of Vrindavan. Sri Uddhava said, thereafter Lord Krishna went to Mathura city with Sri Baldev. And to please their parents, they dragged Kamsa, the leader of the public enemies, down on his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength. I think everybody over here knows the story of how Kamsa was killed. Right? So, the Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them once from his teacher, Sandipani Muni. Got the understanding? Whom he rewarded by bringing back his dead son from the region of Yamaloka. Even if the Lord himself is born on this earth, he needs a guru, because without the guru you can never understand anything. So Krishna's third eye, which is called the eye of the knowledge, was opened by his own guru Sandipani. Later on, when he was asked, Krishna and Baldev is Balram, he asked, Guruji, what can we offer to you as a Guru Dakshana? So Sandipani said, I need my son back. Now his son had died many years ago. How do you get your son back? So Krishna and Balram had to travel all the way to Yamloka. And there they found his son and they brought him back. That was an impossible thing that is done. So this is one of the stories. Attracted by the beauty and the fortune of Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, many great princes and kings assembled to marry her. But Lord Krishna, stepping over the other hopeful candidates, carried her away with his own share, as Garuda carried away nectar. Now these are small stories, okay? They are interspersed with what Krishna does. By subduing 7 bulls, whose noses were not pierced, the Lord achieved the hand of the princess Nagnajiti in the open competition to select her bridegroom. Although the Lord was victorious, his competitors asked the hand of the princess, and thus there was a fight. Well equipped with weapons, the Lord killed and wounded all of them, but he was not hurt himself. Just to please his dear wife, the Lord brought back the Parijata tree from heaven, just as an ordinary husband would do. But Indra, the king of heavens, induced by his wives, henpecked as he was, ran after the Lord with full force to fight him. We have done these stories interspersed during our satsangs, but just for very short this thing, I will give you an idea about it. Rukmini's Swayamvar is there, and Rukma is a brother. Rukma's friend is Shishupal. So he has called Shishupal so that in front of everybody he can marry her. It's like a Swayamvar. Rukmini sends a letter to Krishna, and Krishna then comes over here to their kingdom and whisks her away. That is in short how the story happens. And Shishupal is very angry with it and he wants to murder Krishna. So, in the same way, there are the other stories. Bulls are, see, if a bull has been pierced in the nose, they are controllable. You know, in the bullfights in Spain and other places, you will find that the bulls are having those painted horns and all that, and they don't have pierced nose. They can gore a person to death. So like that, Krishna has won over many of his wives. Okay, now the side track which I was going to take up, I said that why is it important that today I will just take up a small, because now already 3 wives are mentioned. The third wife I haven't said, but I will tell you. The third wife is Satyabhama. Satyabhama is a very, very haughty creature. So she's got a very she wants to do everything for Krishna, and she would rather do things for Krishna. She will say to Krishna, you stand behind, I will go and fight for you. In all the wars, this is what she wants to do always. She says, you don't fight, let me fight. And she has always been in the forefront, fighting everybody and anybody. So in one of the stories, she asked for this particular flower called Parijata from the heavens of Indra. Parijata is a flower which was not grown on the earth. So Krishna has to go and do a lot of things and then bring the flower back, and Indra runs after him with his sword, wanting to kill him, because Indra doesn't know who he is. So anyway, the story is like that. So now what is this that I was going to tell you about? Last time, if you remember, I said that we are going to discuss about Purusha and the Prakriti. Senthil had asked some question. Based on that, I had said that there is the body, which is comprising of the various elements. It's like a fruit hanging on the branch. The branch is what is holding it up, which is called the spirit, right? Now, what I said to you was there are the various elements. The elements comprise the human body. This human body is, how does this genesis happen? The genesis, how does this generate by itself? Krishna has got different wives. Wives means a part of him, a part of him. So the main one is called Prakriti, the one that comes out of him. Okay, Purusha and the Prakriti. Prakriti comprises of 5 main personas in this world. The first persona is called Durga. The first aspect of Prakriti is called Durga. Durga, when she is the form of Prakriti, she is responsible for creative elements and for all the good qualities that a person has in this world, including fighting, including, you understand, all the powers that are there. You remember Durga was given all the weapons, astras, shastras by all the gods. If you remember, I told you this. Yes, everything connected to it. So one of the first person comprising Prakriti is Durga. The second one is called Lakshmi. Now Durga has taken the birth. Remember, Durga is an aspect of Krishna. Prakriti form is a form. Taken the birth multiple times. Durga has taken multiple births. The first birth of her was in the form of Sati. Okay. And later on in the form of Parvati. Her son is Krishna in the form of Ganesha. Ganesha is Krishna's own form, by the way. Because the Prakriti aspect of it is him alone. The form of a woman in the form of Parvati, Durga. So the aspects do not match, that is why. Aspecting. So the first form is Durga. The second form is called Lakshmi. When the Prakriti takes birth as Lakshmi, the second aspect of it, she is called the wife of Vishnu. Okay, her job is to money, Aishwarya, everything, all the goodness in the world, the arrogance also, the haughtiness also, all this is an aspect of Lakshmi. The third wife of his, actually can't say a wife, but the third aspect of Prakriti is his wife called Saraswati. So Saraswati is knowledge based. So Krishna's Prakriti's third aspect, which is a wife of Vishnu, is Saraswati. That is only the knowledge aspect of it. All the arts, architecture, this, that, all these things come under that domain. So this is the third aspect of it. Alright. Next one is called Savitri. Savitri is knowledge based, which is spiritual knowledge. Savitri is an aspect of spiritual knowledge. She goes on to become the wife of Brahmaji. Alright. So knowledge aspect, Brahmaji's wife, aspect of Prakriti. Alright. Then the last aspect of Prakriti, which is the most powerful aspect of Prakriti, is called Radha. Radha is the principal deity whom Krishna prays to. Because Krishna's own self is the one that he prays to. So to approach Krishna from any point of view through material realm is through Radha. Because she rules the Goloka Vrindavan. And she takes birth in this human world as Radha, Vrishabhan's daughter. Alright. So these are the 5 principal properties of Prakriti alone. Now below them are too many other qualities which is going to confuse you more and more, so I don't want to tell you. So if you actually see the 5 forms of Prakriti, you will come to know first is Durga, which means all the energies, power centers, correct? Lakshmi is all about money, richness, arrogance, all those things. Third is education based, fourth is spiritual knowledge, and the fifth is love and devotion. All the forms of Prakriti. So this is how Krishna splits himself into Prakriti in 5 different directions. Okay? Right? Then there are multiple smaller aspects of it. Like I asked Raj one question. I said, do you know the wife of Yama? Her name is Shama. So I just asked her one question, do you know the wife of Yama? So anyway, this is how it is. So everything then emanates further. So these are the 5 principal, and from them comes different aspects. So Prakriti's domain is like this. So just Senthil, now further more classification. Okay. Still there is further more classification also. I don't want to go into it because it will get more complicated. Now, what happens in the aspect of Radha? Now, since we are doing this aspect over here, we closed last chapter with the thing about gopis. This aspect of the 5th one, which is called love and devotion, the Radha aspect splits up into n number of entities. So all those are gopis. Along with the gopis, all the mothers, the sister, everything that is there, no, which is woman based. Every woman in that, including Kunti. Kunti is also a part of So these are aspects of this Prakriti from the Radha domain. What the answer? So all the women's, hai na? Now, all these form Prakriti, which is called the power centers. Everything is a power center. Alright? Any questions so far? No. So I will go further. Alright? Narkasura, the son of Ch03, the earth, tried to grasp the whole sky, and for this he was killed by the Lord in a fight. His mother then prayed to the Lord. This led to the return of the kingdom of the son of Narkasura, and thus the Lord entered the house of the demons. We do Narka Chaturdashi, you know that, no? During Deepavali we do this, and we take one big some fruit and we crush it and all that. I'm sure many of the households do that. You know, we do that. Narkasura को मारते हैं बेचारे को, लेकिन उसकी मम्मी जो है वो क्या बोलती है कि उसको मारना मत, and that is why he is born again. There is the house of the demon. All the princesses kidnapped by Narkasura at once became alert upon seeing the Lord, the friend of the distressed. They looked upon him with eagerness, joy and shyness and offered to be his wives. 16000. 16,000 wives we say, no? That is, Narkasura had उनको कैदी बना के रखा था. All those princesses were lodged in different apartments, and the Lord simultaneously assumed different bodily expansions, exactly matching each and every princess. He accepted their hand in perfect ritual by his internal potency, just to expand himself according to transcendental features. The Lord begot in each and every one of them 10 offsprings with exactly his own qualities. So 16,000 into 10. क्यों कॉम्प्लिकेटेड लगता है क्या? कैलकुलेटर लगेगा अभी. Kalayavana, the king of Magadha, they all became Yaduvas. Yeah. All the male children got finished. Kalyavana, the king of Magadha and Salva, attacked the city of Mathura. But when the city was encircled by their soldiers, the Lord refrained from killing them personally, just to show the power of his own men. Sometimes in Krishna's stories, you will find something very strange he does. Why he does, nobody understands. So like that, there is this particular story where this is a king who has come to capture Krishna. And Krishna says, I can't do anything, and just runs away. Many a times you will find that he is called Ranchordas because of that. He runs away from the battlefield. So, of kings like Sambara, Dvivida, Bana, Mura, Balavala and many other demons such as Dantavakra, some he killed himself and some he caused to be killed by others. Others bolega to his own brother, by the way. Anant Sheth, that is, his brother was there, Balram. So Balram was a very strong man, so he took him and killed him. Now, it's all looking like as if I am telling stories after stories. Don't worry, I will come to the main aspect of it. So you hang on till then. Then, O Vidura, the Lord caused all the kings, both the enemies and those on the side of your fighting nephews, to be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All those kings were so great and strong that the earth seemed to shake as they traversed the war field. Duryodhana was bereft of his fortune and duration of life because of the intricacies of ill advice given by Karna, Dushasan and Sobala. When he lay on the ground with his followers, his thighs broken, although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy to see the scene. If you remember, the only portion of Duryodhana's body which never was seen by his mother was his thighs. Correct? Groin as we call it. And that is the place which Bhim breaks it into two. After the end of battle of Kurukshetra, the Lord said, the abatement of the earth's great burden, 18 Ashkonis, have now been effected with the help of Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, Bhima. But what is this? there is still the great strength of the Yadu dynasty born of myself, which may be more unbearable burden. See, the Yadu Vansh was all by itself extremely powerful. So there is a reason why you have to bring it to an end. Okay, just for understanding, let me tell you this. Now let us say, for example, there is a ruler, there is a king. What happens to all his kith and kin? Kith and kin, all his relatives. They think no end of themselves. Somebody wants to become some minister, somebody wants to become something, and then there is chaos. Complete chaos is there. Everybody wants to rule the kingdom, and they try to take over the land, and that is what happened during the Roman Empire also. That is what happened during the empire of Cyrus. Okay, Darius. You know Darius or no? What? No, don't know. Okay. Anyway, again, history lessons are required. That's the Parsis. No, Parsis come from this particular kingdom. Okay. This Zarathustra, if you have heard of Zoroastrians, okay, you have heard of this, no? Yeah. There was a kingdom over there in Persia. Now, Persia today is no longer there, but some portion of the Persia is there, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan and all that. The great king was there. He became very powerful. For over 80 years they were ruling, that particular empire was ruling, and one of the most powerful kings of all times. But then power goes to the head of every other person, you know. Even the Egyptian kings were very powerful. The power went to their head. They were destroyed. Alexander the Great is also one very great example. Genghis Khan, Muhammad of Ghazni, okay, the Vijayanagar kingdom. All these are very powerful kingdoms that I am talking about. But what happens is, the kith and kin, all the relatives, they want to take over this, take over that, all the departments. In the same way, in Yaduvansh also, the same thing was happening. Which was, the reason is, it has to finally come to an end somewhere or the other. And that is the reason why the destruction is required. When they quarrel among themselves, influenced by intoxication with their eyes red like copper because of drinking, then only will they disappear, otherwise it will not be possible. On my disappearance, this incident will take place. Correct? That is Prabhasa. Many times I have told you all the story of Prabhasa, where you know that the reeds means those grass which is grown, they all fight with each other with the reed. The reed is basically poisoned with the metals. Alright? You want me to tell you the story? I think I have already told you many times. Okay, if you want to hear, it is like this. Samba is the son. Okay, Samba is the son of Jambavati. Jambavati is one of the wives of Krishna. Now, Samba was always a gunda. He used to always do masti, too much of masti. He is, yes, from Jambavan, is from Sri Ram's time. Okay, I will have to go too much in flashback. Instead of flashback, let me tell you the story further. Star Wars 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll start from 4, 5, 6 and then go to 1, 2, 3. So Jambavan is the person whose daughter is Jambavati. Jambavati was married to Krishna, and Jambavati's son was Samba. At that time, the Rishi Munis who had come and asked the question, where is Krishna? At that time, he was behaving like a pregnant lady. He was playing with all the small children, and in his stomach, remember, he's like an ape, no? So he had protruded his stomach, and he had kept one small metal bowl over there. What we call as ragada bolte hai na, waisa type ka. So when this person comes and asks him, when this Muni asks him, Ki, do you know where Krishna is? He says, no, can't you see I am so much pregnant, heavily pregnant. So how can you ask me such type of questions? You can't ask me this. So this Muni says to him, okay, if that is the case, then whatever is there in your stomach will be the cause of your destruction. And he goes away. When Krishna comes to know about it, when everybody comes to know about it, they don't know what to do with this pestle. Pestle is mortar and pestle. So what they do is they cut it up into small bits and they throw it in this lake near Prabhasa. Okay, and during the last stages of Krishna's life, what happens is he takes all his Yaduvamsh people over there to this lake Prabhasa. And when power goes to the head, you know what happens. Two things happen. Lot of, yes, wine and women. So they drink so much. This time Krishna has ensured that there are no women around. Okay. Because he has to save all the women. So what he has done is he has told all the women to stay in Dwarka. Alright. And he has told his deputy. Deputy is who? Uddhava. He is told you have to take all the women and the kids, all this, them to Hastinapur. Everybody has to be transported there. Because Dwarka was going under water. Correct? And here, he was going to kill everybody. So they drank so much and then they went into the water. I'm sure many of the boys over here, also men over here, have gone to the, all these lakes and, हम लोग के यहाँ मुंबई में तो हम लोग सब सी शोर में जाते थे. Always picnic is always on the seaside, and then everybody will take out all their small chattis and go out into the water. So all these guys, they also go over there in the water, but in the water they find long, that grass is there, reed as we call it, no. The reed is actually poisoned. Remember, all the metal pieces have been thrown over there. They take out the reed and playfully they start fighting with each other. And the fight becomes a very big fight and the poison reed is there. It kills everybody. Krishna is the only person who is remaining over there. He is sitting under the tree. His brother also is he also dies, by the way. Okay. So everybody dies. So he is the only person staying over there, and then he is also killed by that arrow. The arrow which has come from the stomach of the fish, which was in that same lake. Alright, that is the story. So when they quarrel among themselves, influenced by intoxication, with their eyes red like copper because of drinking, then only will they disappear. Otherwise it will not be possible. On my disappearance, these incidents will take place. Lord Sri Krishna, thus thinking of himself, established Maharaj Yudhishthir in the position of the supreme control of the world in order to show the ideal of administration on the path of piety. Now remember, Yudhishthir is a person who, just before the death of Bhishma, there is a very long discussion that he has on administration from Bhishma Pitama. Bhishma Pitama tells him how to administer the country. So Yudhishthir is now ruling the country over there from the north. The embryo of Puru's descendant, begotten by the great hero Abhimanyu in the womb of Uttara, his wife, was burnt by the weapon of the son of Drona, but later he was protected by the Lord. We have done this story again. Abhimanyu is the person, if you remember, Abhimanyu is what? Yes, he is known for that Chakravyuh, correct? Chakravyuh is a place where they know he learns from his mother's womb how to go inside, but how to get out he doesn't know. So he dies inside. His son, his wife was Uttara. His son is there. Now his son is responsible for this book, by the way. Okay. Parikshit. So the story is like that. The Supreme Lord induced the sons of Dharma to perform 3 horse sacrifices, and Maharaj Yudhishthir, constantly following Krishna, protected and enjoyed the earth, assisted by his younger brother. Simultaneously, Krishna enjoyed life in the city of Dwarka, strictly in conformity with the Vedic customs of the society. He was situated in detachment and knowledge as enunciated by the Sankhya system of philosophy. He was there in his transcendental body, the residence of the goddess of fortune, and with his usual gentle and sweetly smiling face, his nectarian words, and his flawless character. Okay, another small story, when I was telling you about the Prakriti aspect of it and the 5 goddesses, the 5th goddess, which is called Radha, okay, she is taking charge of this place called Vrindavan. So all the gopis over there come from that domain. But Lakshmi, the wife of Vishnu, she comes in the form of the 16,108 wives. She splits herself into all these entities. Alright? So the aspects are different. Alright? So that is the reason why the goddess of fortune is mentioned over here. Right? In the earlier lines, it was gopis is not connected with the goddess of fortune. Right? The Lord enjoyed his pastimes both in the world and in the other worlds, that is the higher planets, specifically in association of the Yadu dynasty. At leisure hours offered by night.
Gopis are not wives. Wives are not gopis.
No.
So it is Lakshmi who speaks in this state.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
All the tendencies come from Lakshmi. So which means
Yes.
the rasa is having rights,
Yes.
not with the gopis.
No. The rasa is with gopis. That's a Radha's own form. Love and devotion split into all the gopis. That is millions and millions of them. It's the same thing happening in both the planes. See, I explained to you, what happens there happens here also. Yes. And the third one is in our inner body. That is what we said. So, the play of love, or what we call as the happens only with the gopis. The conjugation that is there, marriage, happens with Lakshmi. Got it? Lakshmi splits up into 16,108 forms.
So how is he has nothing to do with Durga, Saraswati and Saraswati.
Durga is wife of Shiva. Manifestation. Saraswati was always his wife, but that is a later story is there where Brahmaji, like she has to take birth as Brahma's daughter and something. That is a very complicated. Let us not get into it just now. Okay, so that story is different. So these 3 Devis which are there, Durga is always the wife of Shiva. That is, power center is always based with Shiva. Understood? The powers, all the Shaktis, all the energies. That is why he is called Shiva Shakti. The principle of Shiva Shakti stems in his form as Prakriti. In his form means taking shape. Okay. So when he comes in the form of Prakriti, yesterday I was explaining to you the Purusha and the Prakriti principle is called the spirit, and this, I said, and they all are on the framework of what is called as the Paramatma. I explained this thing to you. So I was just giving you how this condensation happens. Okay. The Prakriti aspect of Krishna is divided into 5 female entities because they are Shaktis, the aspect of power. The woman, the basic characteristic of a woman is actually power. See, someday in life I will take this whole aspect of power centers of how they are distributed. Right now I don't have the scope of doing that. So maybe I will do that in the future. Like I said, just one aspect of it I was discussing. So this power aspect is what Krishna's own energies are there. That is why they are called potency. Potency means power. Every person in the world has a potency. Let us take, for example, any human being you take. Okay, let us say Tej as a daughter. Now, what are the potencies that she has? Physical prowess is there. Mental prowess is also there, right? She can do so many things. She can do artistry. That is the Saraswati aspect in it. Education. She looks good. That is the Lakshmi aspect of it. Right or wrong? These are potencies, power principles called power. Understand? Power principle coming in a woman is Prakriti aspect. Did you get this? So these are the 5 principles which are coming in. But when they take a form in the spiritual, from the spiritual to the material world, they also have a husband, because they need the balance is to be there. Balance of Purusha and Prakriti principle has to be there. Got it? See, the Purusha Prakriti principle in Goloka is a combination of Radha Krishna. Got it? That's why I said the yin and the yang, the balance of the two. See, without the white you can't have black, without the black you can't have white. Correct? No. That is the reason why it is always leaning on the other. So, this is how it is. He was there in his transcendental body, the residence of the goddess of fortune, with his usual gentle and sweetly smiling face, his nectarian words and his flawless character. The Lord enjoyed his pastimes both in this world and in the other worlds. I have always discussed this with you, that whatever happens here happens simultaneously on the spiritual plane as well. Okay, 2 planes it is happening simultaneously. The third plane is inside of us. It's a constant activity, specifically in association with the Yadu dynasty. At leisure hours offered by night, he enjoyed the friendship of conjugal love with women. The Lord was thus engaged in householder's life for many, many years, but at last his detachment from ephemeral sex life was fully manifested. Every living entity is controlled by the supernatural force, and thus the sense enjoyment is always under the control of that supernatural force. No one therefore can put his faith in Lord Krishna's transcendental sense activities, but one who has become a devotee of the Lord by rendering devotional service. This aspect of Lakshmi is about conjugal love. The aspect of Lakshmi is all about enjoyment. I told you Lakshmi means enjoyment also, arrogance also. Hai na? I was explaining. But the aspect of transcendental love is not there in conjugal love. That is why whenever I am talking about marriage and stuff like that, I always talk in terms of कि वो conjugal love है, it is to do with marriage, it's a legal entity. It's a legal form of coming together. Basic, like he also mentions over here, it is nothing but conjugal bliss, sexual activity. So even in Krishna's domain, it's the same thing. But whereas transcendental love is concerned, whereas what we call as the divine love is concerned, it is only with gopis. There is a difference between the two. Alright. Once upon a time, great sages were made angry by sporting activities of the princely descendant of the Yadu and the Bhoja dynasty. And thus, as desired by the Lord, the sages cursed them. And this is the same story which I told you just now. Okay. A few months passed, and then, bewildered by Krishna, all the descendants of Vrishni, Bhoja and Andaka, who were incarnations of the demigod, went to Prabhasa, while those with the eternal devotees of the Lord did not leave but remained in Dwarka. After having them, all of them took bath with the water of the place of pilgrimage. They offered their respect to their forefathers, demigods and great sages, and thus satisfied them. They gave cows to the Brahmanas in royal charity. The Brahmanas were not only given well-fed cows in charity, but also gold coins, bedding, clothing, animal skin, seed, blanket, horses, elephants, girls, and sufficient land for maintenance. Thereafter, they offered the Brahmanas highly delicious foodstuffs, first offered to Krishna, and offered their respectful obeisance by touching their head to the ground. They lived peace perfectly by protecting the cows and the Brahmanas. So, what happens over there is inevitable. They drink and they make merry over there in Prabhasa, and they kill each other, and that is how this destruction happens. So this ends this third canto, that is the pastimes of the Lord. Next is Vidura approaches Maitreya. It's a big chapter. So we'll do it next time. Alright. So any questions? No questions, huh? Okay. If there are no questions.
So I have a question
Ah.
about Radha.
Ah.
Now you said she splits into infinite forms on the manifest world as well. And the Raj Leela happened only in the Goloka Vrindavan and those gopis. Now you also mentioned once that Radha also manifests herself, her aspect splits itself into other Radhas, which face different directions. What is that thing? What are those Radhas and what are these ones?
See, the aspect called Radha is nothing but translates into Love. It is nothing but Krishna's own potency, which is called the potency of love for his own self.
Yes.
See, every person, every human being on this planet Earth first loves himself and then loves the whole world. Now, a mother may say, I love my child more than I love myself. But that is not the truth. It's never the truth. Because if both the child and the mother are dying, she may try to save the child till the last minute. But once the water crosses that particular portion, then she is going to stand on top of the child and then save herself. So every human being is made like this only, in the same way. Because that is how this material worldly love has been manifested as. So always you have to remember, the love is only for the self. So when a person says, I want to go towards self-realization, you can go towards realization, but on the way you can start loving yourself. See, what happens is when a person is moving on the path towards self-realization, he sees the whole universe within him.
And then
See, in our normal world, what happens is, I can become your enemy, you can become her enemy, she can become their enemy. Everybody is enemy of each other. But what happens when you have your own child? You don't want to part with your child, so you want to be his friend or her friend, correct? But some other person is your enemy, is never your friend at all, correct? But this is material world. In the material world, everything that is the one that you think mine is never an enemy. What you think as yours is always the enemy, right? So this is the reason why that which is mine. Now you will, even if it is a stupid pen, the pen may not be writing, but if somebody comes and touches it, you get very angry with it because you have possession of that object. You think it is a part of you. Okay? In the same way, somebody tries to harm you, don't you try to save yourself? But when it is somebody else, मरने दे, मैं क्या करूं उसमें, वो उसका बच्चा है, मेरा तो नहीं है. This is how we are. But when you are moving on the path of the self, the thing that keeps on happening to you is, there is nothing outside of you. So you start possessing every object outside as your own. So everything becomes you alone. And the way you possess your finger, if I go and cut it like this, you are going to feel pain, isn't it? So in the spiritual world, the one who is a self-realized being sees the whole universe within him. So any pain experienced by any other is experienced by this being as well. This is how, on the pathway towards the self, you feel one with the world. In Sai Baba's Poti, he says, the black dog was given food by that lady, and when the lady says, Baba, I brought this khichdi for you, he says, but I have already eaten. How he has eaten? I came to you as a black dog. But black dog is not the same as Baba. Then how come both look the same? They are not the same, no? According to physical world, we cannot see the sameness. But when you are on the path towards realization, everything is one. Nothing outside of you. So anything happening to any other person is happening to the individual also. There is no individual per se over there. Okay? So you feel the pain, you feel that joy, you feel that sorrow. But in the material world, we do not have that. We have like, dislike, animosity, friendliness. Sab hai na? That is the reason why when till you are there in the material world, you are going to feel all these things. I hate this, I like this, I don't want to do this, I want to do this. This is my job, that is not my job. This is my food, that is not my food. This is my house, that is not my house. You know, we keep on saying this. This is my pen, that is your pen. But when you are on the spiritual plane of self-realization, when you are going towards that, you do not have anything outside of you. So during that phase, you love everything. You love everything. But think about it. Now I want you to think about it. Do you say to your stomach, I love you, my stomach. I love you, my liver. I love you, my... You don't say these words, isn't it? Correct? It is only when there is an extension outside that you like it. So you look at your face, which is visible outside, and you say, oh, I look good. But what is inside of you? You don't like it. Because the words don't, you never say. Till you are externalized, you are going to have likes and dislikes. The moment you internalize, there are no likes and dislikes. So the one who reaches the self becomes bereft of likes and dislikes. So he doesn't say to his stomach, I like you. No. Then he sees everything as one. There is no feeling left. But the moment you are in this domain of the self and you are moving towards love and devotion, the devotion and the love aspect, then for you, everything is you, I love you. And that is the reason why the path towards self can veer towards love and devotion also. Did you get this whole point? Any more questions? No? So you have a very good